Welcome back to Living the Fantasy with your boys Matt and Kyle. Running backs, top 10. Let's dive into it. So we got Christian McCaffrey all on the top tier, number one list here. I think if I'm at the number one spot, it's just hard for me to press the draft button on anybody else but him. I do think that Cook and Kamara are pretty interchangeable. I wouldn't be mad if somebody chose them one. I just personally can't do it.
Yeah, no, we talked about this a little earlier. I think Christian McCaffrey's an absolute stud. It sucks that he got injured last year twice. He was pretty much non-existent, but in the 3 games that he did play, he had the highest average of any running back by 5 points. You can't deny that he's an absolute beast. He had no supporting cast, still went out there and did just fine. And then he played through injury in that Week 9 game and still, 37 points, absolute stud. So there's that. And then, like Kyle said, Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara, very interchangeable there for the first pick. I think I take Alvin Kamara just a little bit above Dalvin, just because, what he provides in the passing game is unparalleled to any other player. Dude's shifty. He's an absolute beast. 56 points, week 16. There's a lot of things that I like that in Alvin Kamara that are kind of there in Dalvin Cook, but I just feel more comfortable with Alvin.
Yeah, no, I get that. McCaffrey, I am a little scared that he's getting injured again. I just feel like his size is a little bit more. I don't know. He's kind of a smaller guy, but his upside is just remarkable. So that's why he's number one. Cook, I just liked what he did last year. He seemed very solid and safe. Kamara, I love him too. I mean, he's been my guy year in, year out. But I think this year I kind of just put. I think with the quarterback change is why I put Kamara at number 3. I'm not too worried about it. Obviously, he's 3, but I just think that there's just more consistency, less concerns there with Cook as of right now.
And a lot of times you're going to be taking who falls to you. I mean, if you end up with the 3rd pick, you're going to be picking whoever's not drafted yet. If you're the first pick, you're probably just going to go McCaffrey just to, hey, you don't get the first pick very often, and McCaffrey's the 1-1 proven. So I don't know. There's not a lot of decision to be made here. It's just kind of taking who's available.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy start here.
You can't go wrong with the first 4, honestly.
We got Henry 4. He's been leading the league in rushing the last couple of years. He's a tank. Dude's consistent, constantly getting it done. He's a little. His ceiling's a little bit more capped than the other one, just because he doesn't catch the ball very much. But he just does so good on the ground. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I think that his lack of catching the ball is why I have him at a tier break. It's like he's in a tier of his own, but he's still there at that number 4 spot. We had the same thing, just the tier break a little bit different. It's hard for me to combine him in that other tier with the Zekes and the Saquons and all those guys when he's been consistent. He was healthy. He's great. It's a run-first team. Nothing has changed for him aside from a new wide receiver in town. That's it. Which only helps him. It opens up the door. So, yeah. If it opens up the door, they're scoring more points, and Derrick Henry's just running downhill for the rest of the game. That's exactly what you wanted. The biggest issue with the Titans last year was that they weren't ahead that much. They weren't ahead as much as you wanted to see them in games. So I think that helps Derrick a lot, and it'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, moving on to 5. I got Saquon. You have Zeke. I believe the reason you don't have Saquon there is because of the concerns that he might not be ready for Week 1.
Yeah, and it's not even about whether or not I think he'll play Week 1. I think he will still play Week 1, but I think the fact that they're talking about it makes me nervous that it's still a lingering issue. It shouldn't be at this point. It should be, inconsequential, like nothing. So I just drafted Saquon yesterday ahead of Zeke, so I'm back and forth on this one. I think Saquon's probably a better player. I think that he's capable of doing better things. But Zeke, with Dak Prescott, is a phenomenal freaking player. He gets so many points. He does his thing. I think if they can, do what they did at the start of last year, then Zeke will be just fine. So they're in the same spot, but they're both those injured guys that those elite, guys that could end up in the top 4, but because of injury, they're not.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the Barkley injury. I think it's they're just trying to throw their opponent from week 1 off. To be honest, I think he'll be if he had to play today. I think he'd go. Honestly, my
Well,
biggest
they've got one of the
concern.
worst lines in the league. I mean,
Well, okay, so yeah, my biggest concern is the team around him. I don't think it's the best team to be on.
yeah.
And then he's been injured the last couple of years, so that's kind of concerning as well. So I don't feel too comfortable picking him at 5 to be honest. But it's like I don't feel comfortable with the rest of the running backs on this list. So to me, it's like the top 4 are pretty far and away above everybody else.
Well, I think Saquon's far above anybody below him. Like, I mean, for the most part, I could almost put a tier break right there after Saquon, but because of the injury concern and because of his offensive line and situation, that's why there's not a tier break there, because he's just, it's a scary situation. Zeke, I didn't see any burst from him at the end of last year, and that really scares me. He better have fixed it in the offseason.
Well, that's my biggest problem. I traded for him last year, and then Dak got injured right after I did it, which sucked. So it was just bad timing. And like you said, when Dak is on the field, he's good. But
Elite.
we don't know if he's going to be 100% next year. I think he will be. I'm just honestly more concerned about the fact that he has been looking kind of slower and more sluggish in the last couple of years. I just don't know if he's that same kind of elite running back anymore. I think he can still get it done, but it is a little concerning to me. And I like the above options better. So that's kind of where I'm at with Zeke.
Yep.
With Nick,
Agreed.
I like Nick Chubb a lot. I thought last year when he was playing, he did great, and he honestly exceeded my expectations. So I put him at 6 here. I think that the Browns are set to be a great team again. I see no reason why he won't finish top 10, and I just feel pretty comfortable with him as my running back. More comfortable than I feel with Zeke, which is why he's above Zeke. Not that he should be. But I just feel more comfortable taking him.
So I in no way think that Nick Chubb is bad, and I kind of disrespected him here by putting him below Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor. But I think that all of last year, what I was feeling whenever I had Nick Chubb on my team was, oh my God, am I going to get enough points to move on? Am I going to get enough points to move on? He had me on the edge of my seat every week, because every time that he would get a good roll, Kareem Hunt would jump in the game, and then Nick Chubb would be out, and we'd be sitting there, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the next possession. So with a team that, I mean, I don't personally like the Browns' offense very much. I like those running backs, and that's pretty much it. It's really hard to get excited about. Just compared to some of the other guys, I'd rather go with the higher opportunity, higher risk play and Aaron Jones or Jonathan Taylor than take Nick Chubb at that spot. But it's really close. I get where you're coming from, but and it's probably not the mathematical play to not go Nick Chubb above those two guys. But
well, I know how you feel, because I had him 2 years ago, and I felt the exact same way. Like, oh, is he going to get this touchdown? Is he going to get this touchdown? And you're just banking on this touchdown for him, giving you a decent week. But
yes,
after watching him do it for 2 years straight, I just feel like he's done it. There's no need to be scared. He's going to get it done in one way or other. So I don't know why it feels like that with him. But after seeing him do it for 2 years in a row, I'm pretty sold at this point. And so, he's there. We both had Aaron Jones pretty far up there as well. Yeah, he's just been killing it the last couple of years.
Aaron Jones is the reason I got him above Nick Chubb is just because points per game, strictly. I mean, Aaron Jones puts up those points. All right, he's got 18.5 points per game over the course of basically the entire season. He missed 2 games in the middle of the year, and then was back for the rest of the year, which I didn't expect. That's the reason I traded him away last year in my dynasties. I thought he was going to have some injury concerns this year, just due to playing some really hard-nosed defenses. But he's held it together pretty well, and you got to acknowledge the success.
Yeah, I remember thinking halfway through the year, I need to find a way to trade for this guy and get him on my team. So he was doing really good. He's consistently doing good, and he has the potential to have winning weeks. So there's nothing to not like there, except for the fact that maybe Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. But even then, I don't think it's too concerning. I'm more concerned with Devontae Adams at that point than I am Aaron Jones.
I think both of them take a huge hit. If they can't stay on the field on offense, they're going to struggle. And part of the Green Bay's actual success, well, a large part of Green Bay's success is Aaron Rodgers' brain. All right, he's on the field commanding that offense. He does things that other quarterbacks don't do. Not even the best quarterbacks in the league. So it's really tough to lose that player if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. But that's the only reason I have Aaron Jones at 8. I think that I'm kind of disrespecting him a little bit by putting him at 8. But I would move him up the board if Aaron Rodgers was for sure playing.
And honestly, even if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, I don't like the below options as much, and so I guess that's why I feel more comfortable with him at 8.
Yeah.
You have Jonathan Taylor pretty far up there. I put him at 9. Even then, I don't feel comfortable drafting Jonathan Taylor too much this year.
It's a little scary with Marlon Mack coming back.
It's not even that. A majority of his points came in 2 games. It was the Raiders and the Jaguars. Now, he gets to play the Jaguars twice a year. Cool. But at the same time, I don't know. He was way too inconsistent for me to like. And I get the whole, they have a great offensive line. The team should be better. And he's a great talent. So everybody's just banking on this, this potential. And I see it. That's why he's at 9. But at the end of the day, I just don't feel comfortable with him at 9. I'm probably drafting a receiver at that point rather than Taylor.
And we're on the same page with that, too. I mean, we are 100% on the same page. I'm not grabbing... In most leagues, I'm not grabbing Jonathan Taylor or Aaron Jones because I'm grabbing a receiver at that point. I'm not going to sit there and grab one of those guys instead. I'll wait for the next guys on the board and, just bide my time, grab a Josh Jacobs type, Chris Carson, like whatever. I don't need to rush and grab a Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones when I can get something similar out of these other guys.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan Taylor had almost the exact same amount of points as Josh Jacobs last year, and Josh Jacobs, he did okay. He did fine. He was serviceable. If I can get Josh Jacobs after I grab fucking Justin Jefferson, then that's way better than grabbing Aaron Jones or I'm sorry, Jonathan Taylor, and then grabbing whatever receivers left after that. Allen Robinson, maybe. I don't know. But that's just me.
100%. I agree. The last pick here is very different between all of us. I really don't know who to put for the last one, honestly. I like David Montgomery. I like, Dobbins. There's a couple other guys I like in that range. I'm not a huge Mixon fan right now, so that's why I think I gave the edge to Gibson. I remember last year in one of my leagues, he was a second string running back for me, and between him and a couple other guys, I believe it was Dalvin Cook actually, I was just lighting it up week in, week out, and I like the potential that Gibson has. He's shown that he can put the numbers up at a pretty fairly consistent rate, and then with Fitzmagic coming in, I don't see why he would be any worse. So
he shouldn't regress, no. He had Haskins at the beginning of the year, and he was learning the offense and getting used to everything. And then he had that great game against the Cowboys, and then got injured, and had a slow end of the season because there was nothing that we were really doing anymore. I like him a lot. I think he's gonna be a stud, but there's a lot of mouths to feed. It's kind of nerve-wracking, I guess, to get a running back out in Washington.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too. I would say is, getting that receiver from Carolina,
Mr. Curtis
Samuel. The way they used him last year was very running back to receiver kind of ish, and he might take away some of those catches. Now I don't know, when he played for Rivera, they really didn't use him like that. So I think they're going to use him more as a receiver in this offense, to be honest, especially because they have the running backs, they can get it done in the passing game. So that's what I'm kind of thinking off of.
Plenty of running backs in the passing game.
Yeah, you got Dave Montgomery at 10.
Yeah, I've got Dave Montgomery at 10. I've been really bouncing back and forth on this one. Dave Montgomery was one of the most consistent, stud running backs in the league last year, despite everything that I thought about him. Part of that obviously was because Tariq Cohen wasn't playing last year. He was out. So when you take half of your running back core and just throw him in the garbage, obviously he's going to rise to the top, or he's going to fail, but he rose to the top. The question is, will he continue to do the same thing this year after Tariq Cohen coming back? And I think that he'll do just fine. He's got a new quarterback coming into the system, maybe not at the start of the year, but midway maybe. I'm more scared for the quarterback play up until the next quarterback comes in. I think that might make David struggle a little bit because he doesn't do too much in the passing game, right? So it's a little nerve-wracking, but we'll see. I'm not 100% confident in him, but it's really hard to pick somebody for that 10th spot because there's about 8 guys that deserve to be there.
Yeah, he makes me a little nervous, but I do like what we saw last year. He killed it in the second half of the year. Now everybody's going to be like, oh, it was just against bad defenses, blah, blah, blah. But Jonathan Taylor had such an easy schedule at the end of the year, and he didn't do shit for half the games. So I don't understand why one guy gets a pass and one guy doesn't.
Jonathan Taylor crushed it in the last 5 games of the year, and he sucked kind of the rest of the year.
I just remember him getting 4 points, 4 points, 4 points, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of defenses he should have done better against that he didn't.
Right after the bye week, yeah, he struggled, and then he took off. He had 22, 30, 19, 19, 38. That's why everybody's so high on him right now, because recency bias.
Yeah. I'm not the highest. Like, I don't think David Montgomery has the most skill in the world, but I just think, like, with the attempts that he should be getting and what he did last year, he deserves to be there. I like him. I am scared he regresses a little bit, but for the most part, I'm on board.
Yeah, so that's our top 10. Any questions or comments? Throw them down in the comments section. All right.
Do you agree with Austin Ekeler not being in our top 10? Because Fantasy Pros has him there. I just I didn't see enough that I needed to see last year, and he just seems to be a smaller guy that has. And because he's a smaller guy, I just don't know. I feel like I fear injury, and I don't know. I'm not super high on him, honestly. I think he's got some upside, just not as much as I would hope.
Yep.
So.
Agreed.